And good morning, all of you wonderful people on the planet Earth. Those of you under the sound of my voice, we welcome you back to Executive Bowl, Executive Strike and Spare here in Louisville, Kentucky, as the official running of the Bradley Open now underway with A squad qualifying. 5 games here this morning. A little bit of a later start to help accommodate. If you joined us yesterday, you heard this before. Some weather, depending on where folks were still driving from this morning. Some did make the drive or finish their drives this morning. And then there is a large farming machinery show next door at the fairgrounds, which has caused some traffic delays, or did in certain situations on Friday. So here we are. We start with 35 to 38. Let's add a little picture-in-picture here. We got Jalen Mosley, Mike Moore, Lance Morris here, 35 and 36, and then a group of 2 on 37 and 38. Zach Rhodes. And Victor Flory Jr. Of course, you know, you walk into bowling centers and wherever it may be in the morning, and you may smell that aroma of fresh coffee, eggs, maybe some bacon, as the aromas float across the bowling center. But some of those things were true here at Executive this morning. But if you bowled the Bradley or have watched in the past, you know that there's a sound that you hear at the Bradley prior to practice. Sounds like a scratching noise. We've all used an Avalon pad more times probably in our lives than we can think about. Plenty of Avalon, but some Scotch Brite out there, folks. Some screen, I think, was, of course, applied. Did not see a roof shingle, but I've heard stories. I did a little bit of a walk down on the high end. Excuse me. And I should say really middle down to the high end. And the majority of the players, at least on the high end, seem to be bowling or trying to play them out, which is kind of typical from what I've seen in my now 3 years here watching this event. But with so much surface, obviously, you know, there's going to be, at least hopefully, from the player perspective, there'll be a little bit of something there to work with the surface aiding up the front part of the lane and so forth down lane. Tony Lambert was able to get his ball. He's bottom right of your screen and check in over 31 to 34. Something I was very interested in watching here today also is Kevin McHugh. The players championship winner last year. I was interested because, obviously, Kevin is a very powerful player. To some degree, I'm not telling you he can take the lane completely out of play, but he can. And you give him, you know, let's say he's got 360. So throw right at the head pin. Might be a decent start for a long guy. Give him a shot here real quick. He's on 30. So you saw just on the left side of your screen, that was Kevin McHugh. He's on 29 and 30, which if he's moving right, which means he should hit. blasted PIP. Should be good now. Always remember, folks, in live streaming, when you add a shot, make sure you mute the sound of that shot before you send it live. That is the lesson of the day. I've done this a gazillion times. And if you were to say, what's the one thing, Emil, that you always may tend to forget? To mute volumes when you add shots. All right, so I don't know what you just heard, but stop me if you heard me talk about Kevin McCune, and I was very interested to see how he might handle this pattern. And I think he's probably going to perform very well, A, just because he's skilled and talented, but B, because he's going to go right at the 1-3. He's not going to waste any time. He's on 29 and 30. We saw his shot on 30. Last night we had a little audio hiccup, unfortunately, but it was because we had 2 bumps of the power cable. Zach Rhodes, that's a quality shot. Victor over on 37 and 38. I think he made his trip from Richmond. Virginia got stopped twice due to weather. John McCarthy, by the way, I feel like within the last month, I just found out that ITCs will be held in your venue. And so congratulations, you and your staff. They've been working hard, making some renovations and such. All the videos I've seen looks like a great place. And if all is proper in the world, I will be visiting that establishment for that event. So look forward to seeing you there. Good morning to Derek and Scooby. Patrick, appreciate you both. Yvonne, good morning. And John, Chad Roberts, congratulations to Chad Roberts. And maybe one of my new favorite bowlers to watch. Or, Chad was always a favorite of mine to watch too. We also have more in common as fathers. But Mr. Arnar Johnson, who, if he's listening to this, my goal this weekend is to record how he says his name in his native tongue so I can get that down and memorize it properly. But they bowled well. It's rare that a #1 seed can make their way, especially in that talented field of teams that we saw last night. They shot 15-30 for 3 games to qualify as the top seed, and was able to take home the title. They won $2,500 for their efforts. But Mr. Johnson, Johnson, he can bowl. Watch out for him as he continues to work through the PBA Tour. One more thing to kind of keep in mind today, we could see some additional players perhaps making their way from Springfield. They'll be headed to Anderson, Indiana for the next tour stop, which is, from what I understand, about 2 hours north of here, of Louisville. So we may see some additional players maybe get in a qualifying squad if they can, or a B squad. There is also a Desperado squad. So if you bowl in either A or B, that would make you eligible for that. Yes, that is always a common question. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in early. Got a nice little audience here this morning. Just past the 9 o'clock hour Eastern time. Some of you are up very early in other time zones. Thank you so much. Or you could be up late. Shout out to the Philippines. We appreciate you. But the Bradley is just known for being high volume, plays extremely lengthy because of said high volume, and thus there's a lot of surface that is used. lot of pointing at the head pin. You're just looking for a little bit of carry. And make spares. Hopefully that gets you in the top 50 in each of the squad or the squad that you bowl. In the top 50 from each squad will advance to round 2. That round 2 will be tonight. So it's a long day of competition today. A squad, B squad is scheduled to begin at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Might be a little later than that just based on the traffic situations in the afternoon so far this week. Give again players an opportunity to be here. After that, B squad, then we'll have that Desperado, just a quick 2-game sprint. And then we'll get into the advancers round tonight, which will be around 7 p.m. And then that will be 6 games. And then players will then have 6 games to figure out a way to advance to the cashers round. They got to be in the top 40 to do that. 40 players will advance to tomorrow morning. Every player who advances to tomorrow morning will earn a check. A load of cash is guaranteed $600. First double for Jalen Mosley. Jalen threw the smoothest shot. He's smooth anyway. But the smoothest first shadow ball practice shot I've ever seen in my life. Which just has to be a byproduct of his own skill level, his youth. There was just nothing about it that suggested that he didn't stretch. He's not, I mean, just unbelievable. Of course, I'm speaking now from the background of a man who is about to turn 40. Lance Morris doing something that not a lot of players are doing, but we know that that does happen. Playing a little bit in the middle part of the lane. Just really try not to or be parallel to a degree with the head pin. Tony Lambert next door has gone. He just went 4 through the middle. Of course, the legendary two-handed lefty Tony Lambert. When you talk about two-handers nationally, I don't think you can have that kind of conversation without talking about Tony Lambert. Especially historically. He's won this tournament 3 times. 2000, 2004, and 2013. Take a look at him in a minute. Again, there are a few groups of 2. So this might be a pretty fast squad. Yesterday, Nolan White won the Fairchild Singles Shootout, sponsored by H5 Bowling, High Five Gear. Last night's double shootout, sponsored by Maeser Plumbing, along with CTD and Motiv. Motiv also, of course, involved one of the title sponsors here with the Bradley Open Weekend. Big thanks to QubicaAMF. Again, H5G creating the difference. Maeser and, of course, Strike and Spare, the brands and the Sinners. Certainly here at Executive. Got a little quick. Such a difficult situation. Let's watch Brian Robinson next door here. He's going to enter the right of your screen. See that angle right off? He's coming right off the half board. I mean, right off the half board. Shout out to Carl Provost as well, out here doing his thing. I think he bowled, had both singles and doubles yesterday. You can see that group at the bottom right of your screen, but I wanted to give you an up-close view on where Brian is playing them. B-Rob. I don't know how many years he's been on tour, but it's been a little minute at this point. Make spares and try to work your way into the top 40. Tim Ford Jr. is bowling as well. Saw him bowl doubles. He bowled doubles with Anthony Nyer last night. They had themselves some really good matches. They shot 300. But Daniel Dino and Chris Corbin, that's a tough duo. And they came back to beat Nyer and Foy in the semifinals. So I'll throw the question out early. If you were bowling the Bradley, or if you are going to bowl the Bradley, and maybe if you are, you don't want to give your secrets away, and that would be understandable. But if you are going to bowl, or if you're not going to bowl, how would you play the line? How would you attack the pattern, which for the most part is generally similar year in and year out, typically speaking? Jalen has moved a little left, again parallel, keeping those angles in front. Just trying to roll it off his hand. Good shot here at Tony Lambert's 10th frame. That works. This one to put it in the plus territory and gets a little, that's like a nice friendly roll there. Saw not a lot of messengers last night. Some connected, some didn't, but Tony out early. Nice game. Nice way to start for Tony. It'd be 210 on the dot. Brian Robinson. Get a better look at Brian on the left side of your screen. Watch this. There's the angle, left side there. And he just buried it. And he's got 2-0 possibilities. Speaking of Brian. All right, B-Rob being the 2-0s as well. Zach Rhodes. Williams says stand right, throw it directly at the 1-3. Yeah. Chad says start the ball on the approach. Ball has to hook at some point. Might as well be before the lane. Yeah, that's a good approach. 200 even for Brian Robinson. Bill says you try to play the middle of the lane. That little slight fade. Try to stay out of trouble. Makes sense. More pin for Jalen. Game one looks like it is about over for about 90% of the field here. The players are looks like they're skipping 2 pair of lanes. I think it's the divergent skip. So I think we'll see Kevin McCune down here. Jalen's making the hop, skip, and the jump, I believe, at about 41. You know, Bo, that's a very, very good point. What I would call well, some people call it the old Hoosier, but the old Hoosier has different meanings to different people, but that's how I would refer to that. There was another term we used to go to back in the day. I think it was like the blue and gold. That seemed like it just had volume on top of volume. Lance had an opportunity. Could have found a way to double there in the 10th frame, but 190, again, is not a bad score on this. Speaking of college bowling, our guy Daniel Farish. On the cue, unfortunately, just left the 1-8. Which was something else for a moment, and that's what it broke down to. All right, one more shot from Lance, and sure, float 64. Let's hop on over to 33 and 34. Let's do it. Check in on that group. All right, let's see who we got over there. Might go look at some scorecards. Do see Brett Shepard. Over on 31 and 32. Matt Roskowski. He'll be up on 34 in a moment. Kevin McCune, bottom of your screen. He's now on 35. We'll get up close and in person with Kevin in a little bit. It's still hard and straight at spares. Good morning to Lisa Zweig. Hello. Mama Zweig in the house. That means that Matt is bowling this squad, although I haven't personally seen him. He might be venturing in this direction. Certainly at some point. Wow. Well, that was a shot on 36, folks. It was a little difficult to see in the picture-in-picture from Cooper Allen, but his ball did not get right of about 8. And just the surface from the practice session or the 10-minute practice this morning and a full game 1. And his ball made it an immediate left turn. Tony Lambert, just nice touch. Still striking. There's Daniel. Is a, if you don't know him, a straighter player. I mean, he has always been up the boards and in front. Again, solid start. Nice little contingent watching this morning. If you're on your way, if you're watching at home, just want to get a good look at All right, folks. Got a little guess while we're here. I don't know why he's here so early. Maybe he's watching TP and everybody else who's bowling, or he just is a smart bowler and wants to see what everyone else is doing here early.
Couldn't sleep. Figured I'd come in and hang out, watch everybody bowl, see what I'm in for later.
That's Jerry Mars in the booth. Jerry shot 300 last night.
Yep.
In doubles.
Good old 51 and 52.
Yeah, I heard it's a good pair here.
That's what I hear. I've never had any good luck on it, but last night I did, so
well, you changed that.
Yep.
Caught the last cashing spot with Terrell Peterson and in doubles.
Yeah.
This is not your first rodeo bowl in this tournament.
No, sir.
And so I assume that nothing that you're seeing regarding how the players are trying to attack it is a surprise to you.
It's the same thing every year. You see guys, some guys are trying to get it up the middle, and a lot of guys are trying to get it off the gutter. I won't be able to get it off the gutter because I'm not confident getting it to the gutter. So I choose to stand at about 20 and just fire it right down the middle and see what happens. Eventually ending up in a fallback shot.
I just asked some of the group here or the chat specifically on how they might attack it, and we had Bo mention, playing the fade might be good. You see a little bit of the mix though every year.
Just if you have too much surface, the ball's going to hook way too early. I've seen a couple guys that talking about how they put 180 on their ball and the ball hits the lane and just takes off. So
yeah, there's definitely been some 180.
I think the first year I bowled this, I came in 6th, and the lowest I used was 500. Last year I tried 360 and finished 11th. So we'll see what happens this year.
How many years will this be for you bowling this tournament?
This is my third.
Third year.
Yep. I always watched it online and just had one year when I had my heart attack, I just told myself, you know what, I'm going to get out and bowl more, do some more events and experience more just to get out there. And this one was always on the radar, and just one year I had the opportunity to come bowl. I had somebody call me up and said they sponsor me, and came out and finished 6th. So now it's a tournament that'll be on the schedule for quite some time.
We all know about the challenge. That is the Bradley. Every year, though, there's a few people, maybe catch the tournament for the first time.
Yeah.
Some surprised at what they see. Some thinking that, the players that they're watching actually aren't good, which typically is not the case.
I've seen guys come into this tournament and be on top of their game and just knocks them down. And then they do what every bowler does. Man, I suck. I can't bowl. I shouldn't be doing this. And then they come out and bowl in the tournament the following week, and hey, I shot 800 for 3 games. I've done it.
Kevin McCune, bottom of your screen, going right to left a little bit. He's trying to find the right angle. A powerful player to begin with.
Should tell him he should slow it down a little bit.
Not a bad shot over there. Gets out of trouble. No 4-9s. I know we got a few first-timers in this squad alone, just from a couple of players that I heard talking.
Yeah.
Even from players who bowl on tour. I mean, I don't know if Kevin, this might be his first time. I think Tim might be Tim Foy's first time bowling this tournament.
I don't know. I think he might have bowled it once before.
I feel like I thought that was him. I was listening to earlier, or they were talking about. There was a surface conversation.
Yeah.
But there were a few players who hadn't bowled, and so listening or talking to players, obviously, who have bowled and giving some recommendations on how to surface your equipment, or at least what to start with.
Well, I know when I walked in, Tim looked at me and he goes, I never knew if there was a real meaning of too much surface. And he goes, and I think I experienced that today. I was like, why is that? And he said, first shot he went to go throw with 180 or 120 on his ball, and the ball went in the left gutter. I said, yeah, that might be it.
How many balls would you place at whatever surface it is, right? So let's just use 500 as your benchmark.
Uh,
How many balls would you put at 500?
I could tell you my game plan today was I was going to put 2 balls at 500, fresh 500, 2 balls at a lightly used 500, and then 1 ball at 360, just to see what that would give me. I have my Stealth at 360 right now, and then I have MV Tour, Brutal Collision, and a Hellcat.
And fresh / and or lightly used, meaning the pad itself,
Right.
right? We'll flip out here for 1 second and go full screen to 35 and 36, where young Mr. Hall will get his first name here in a moment. But he's got open 6-bagger, in fact, split 6-bagger. He's on 37.
He's not even throwing surface.
Some in the middle of the lane for the most part. Again, as Jerry just mentioned, no surface. That might be the rarest thing here. A bowling ball at the Bradley with no surface on it.
I'm actually surprised there.
Do me a favor and take a look at that clipboard. See that clipboard right there? Charlie Hall.
Shot 143 first game.
Okay. Well, young Charlie's putting in some work. And yeah, work still going on 31 and 32. Also, let's go back there briefly. We wait for Mr. Hall. He's on the pair with John Keese. This is Jerry Mars. That's right, Bo. The Jerry Mars. Or Gerald, as you called him.
I'm only called that when I'm in trouble.
Brian, that's yeah, you're right. And that's why a guy like Daniel is never out of an event like this, to where, because he's such a great spare shooter.
Yeah, spares are key for this tournament.
He's gonna grind all the way through 5 games. Maybe left.
Oh.
Can't break down splits. Young Charlie here, but he's got a nice game brewing. Looks like Brett Shepard does also. That also would not surprise me, having said that.
No.
Brett's got 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare, 5-bagger, maybe 2-pin. And then there you see the raw power of Kevin McCune on 35.
One thing I've always seen about Brett, he's very good at bouncing it off the gutter on patterns. I'm just not that confident.
You are correct about that. Doesn't matter what the pattern is today. He's got a phenomenal, and always has had a phenomenal ball roll. In the booth with Jerry Mars, one of Chicagoland's finest. If you ever need a tournament to bowl in the Chicagoland, just ask him.
It's not even Chicagoland. It's all over. I got a spreadsheet that I do. Basically,
you've added other states?
Yep. We've added Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan.
So you basically do more than this, but 3 things within like the tournament community. A, you've created this spreadsheet listing all of these events so people can kind of go one-stop shop and find out what's the bowl, where it is, obviously the dates.
Yep.
Then you run your own tournaments.
Yep.
And assist with running others.
Yep.
Obviously you bowl.
Oh yeah.
and so I mean, why do you do all this? Like what's why are you engaged in kind of helping bowlers figure out or find stuff to bowl?
Truth be told, my grandmother, when I was growing up, she used to manage a bowling center. And she used to always tell me that no matter what you do, if you have passion for something, show it. So I basically, used to have people call me up and be like, hey, do you know of anything going on? Do you know of this and that? So I started the Illinois Bowling Tournaments page because the basis of starting that page was if you had a tournament, send it to me on there. I'll share it on that page and people will see it. Well, the page got 5,000 followers within like 2 months. And I was just sharing events and all this stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm up to like 10,000 followers now. And then it was tournament directors started messaging me saying, hey, do you know of any events that concur with this date?
Yeah, because you are the know.
And I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to create a spreadsheet where everybody could see it. I had help from Justin Mooney out of Rockford. I wasn't very savvy with Google Sheets. And Justin helped me with it, got it going, and then I just started putting information in there, and we changed something on it every now and then. Jen Maurerman helps me with it. She's out of the Peoria area. She came up with the idea that if it had a Facebook event, put the link on the page, so that way they could just click that little link and it'll come up on Facebook. Idea. So basic information we put on there is the name of the tournament, the city it's in, the bowling center it's at, whether it's scratch or handicap or both, and how much the entry is if we know it. And now we're putting the links to the Facebook pages. And in all honesty, we're seeing a rise in entries in tournaments all around Chicagoland area, Wisconsin, just because people are having that information right there at their hands. And it's open to anybody. Nobody can edit it but myself or Jen. And anybody can view it. And if there's tournaments that you think that needs to be added to it, add it. I tell people, just go ahead and invite me, and I'll put interested in it. So that's why it's in my little Facebook calendar. And then when I get bored at work, I just basically get on Facebook, find the events, and I put them on there. Try to update it every Monday. I think I have over 120 events on it right now.
Wow.
So I love bowling.
Yes, you do. Hey, we appreciate you, man. That's that's no small feat. Like, it sounds minuscule to a degree, but that is time that you are taking.
Well, it's like last week we were in, my wife and I went on a cruise. And with the tour being in my backyard, basically, I had all the tour guys messaging me, asking me, hey, what's the bowl in the area? What's this to bowl here Saturday, Sunday, next week? And I gave them a whole list of events to bowl, and they showed up. They came out and bowled. I know Buttriff, Anthony Nyer, Sam DeWitt, and all them came out to Lakeside Lanes. And they went to Lakeside and Mundelein, bowled the sweeper out there. And I could tell you right now, the gentleman that runs that tournament, Brian Kostopic, he was on cloud 9 because he had national tour guys in his bowling center, in that bowling center, bowling his events. I'm all about promoting bowling. I don't care where it's at. I don't care who's running it. I'm going to promote it because bowling is pretty much my life.
Back 7, by the way, for Kevin McCune, as you saw, 234. And speaking of scores, I do have some Game 1 scores. And let's see. Jeremy Thomas, look at that. JT.
Wow.
Out the gates, 246. Tyler Slaubaugh, 232. Kyle Peterson, 228, along with Matt Zweig at that score. Chris Hester, 224. Rick McCormick and Brandon Coombs both shot 222. William Hislop, 212. Tony Lambert, 210, as we saw. Afton Lord shot 209. Shota is bowling this squad. Shota Kawazoe, 206. Anthony Nyer, 203. Brett Shepard shot 203. Daniel Perkins, 202. Dwayne Stanek, 202. David Nordhaus, 201. Brian Robinson, as we saw, shot 200 even in Game 1. 50th, which is, of course, top 50 in each squad will advance to the or tonight's advancers round. And that was a 159 after one game. That 159 was the number there. First game score in 50th.
Scored a little bit higher than I thought.
Corey, it's a great question. I want to say that the scores would be posted on the Bradley Open. There's two events. There's an event page for the Bradley Open, like the actual tournament, and then there is a Bradley Open bowling tournament Facebook page in that regard as well. And we are going to have some first-hand accounts. By one Daniel Farish here. DQ, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Yes.
Are they, well, it's the Bradley. We'll just start. Is it the Bradley?
This event has ways of making you feel things that you don't feel the other 363 days out of the year. Yes, this is the Bradley.
What are you seeing? How are you trying to attack the lanes? You doing anything differently than you've done in the past?
Yeah, I'm kind of committed, at least for a couple of games this morning, to playing out like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. It does help that I've got Brett right on top of me, so he's helping to break it down a little bit. I'm still pointing the ball off the corner. You know, I've got my earliest reading stuff, a couple of solid symmetrics, pin down, 360 surface. I don't really go much more than that. It's been okay, 180, 190. You know, the 180 game, I doubled the 6th and 7th, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, man, I can punch for 250. And then the building reminded me what I'm bowling. And I go blower 4-9, pocket 4-5. It's all good, though. I'm gonna stay out for another game and a half, and then try to move into like 4th arrow, play the St. Louis fallback with some bigger ASIMs, something that'll have some energy when it gets there, maybe. And we'll see.
Someone referenced in the chat earlier that your ball was hooking at your toe. Did you also see that or feel that?
Yes, that's kind of what I was hoping. I saw that during a qualifier out here on Christmas Eve. The pin down balls were literally hooking at my toe and just setting up kind of like a urethane look. But like urethane, if it doesn't hook at my toe, it ain't gonna hook.
Yeah.
So we're just rotating through different balls each game, just trying some stuff, making spares, staying clean. So that's all I got.
Appreciate you.
And I figured with the farm and machinery show next door, it'd be a good day to wear the cow jersey.
Yes,
I was wondering what was going on over there because last night
That's what it is.
Tried going and getting food after we got out of here, and I sat at a light over there for like literally 20 minutes. I was like, what the heck's going on here?
Yep, that's what it is. Oh, Kevin McCune with the Corgi jersey. I love that.
Yeah, you guys are doing some things.
All right, thanks, E.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so we got Shota.
You can stay there.
Jerry Mars is received a little bit of loving on the shoulders from one Anthony Nyer.
Anthony and I bowled the RPI together and had a good time bowling. You bowl the first 2 squads, and then the 3rd squad, they pair you up with by where you qualified. And we got to bowl all 3 rounds together and just laughed the whole time. Watch PJ Haggerty knock his head off of the little sign on the...
Oh, yeah, man, I heard about that.
He went through the ball, got a strike, and he stepped to the left and turned around, and when he whipped his head around, he hit right at the corner and gashed his head open, and was not a pretty sight. But they came out and put a Band-Aid on his head, and they watched him the rest of the night, and then he comes out, and that was on the 2nd round on Wednesday night. And then Thursday morning, he comes out shooting like 770 for the first 3 games. I said, maybe I should try hitting my head somewhere.
that young man, since I've known him, got a chance to bowl against him in college, but he's just been that guy.
He's one of those guys that every time you go and bowl a tournament, he's going to come up to you and he's going to say hi, and he's going to ask how you're doing. And, you know, Simonson is the same way. Anytime I see Simonson, he'll come up to me. I remember when I had my heart attack and I started bowling again. We were in Vegas, and he came running from the tables, stopped me, and he was like, "You all right?" I was like, "I wouldn't be in Vegas if I wasn't." But yeah, I says, "I'm good."
I think we got Mama Janice watching. Shout out to the Farish family. She got a laugh out of her son's descriptions, as only Daniel can describe. He's on 39. We'll check in on him in a bit. Steve Novak is now on 37 and 38. Now another Louisville local. Steve originally from New York, went to Saginaw Valley. I think he and Daniel bowling, or will bowl next to one another, I should say, throughout this block. We got Jerry Mars in the booth. How long you want to stay?
I could stay until game 5.
Okay, all right.
I'm cool with it. I was just walking around watching everybody, but you're pretty much seeing the same thing all around, so.
It don't really change much.
No, it doesn't. Definitely reminds me of the first year I bowled.
Was it like a shock to you the first year you bowled? I'm sure you had heard people, or people were telling you what to expect. Was it different than how you experienced it?
I had heard horror stories about this tournament. And I used to be the type of person where I just used to be really good on short and not good on long. And then all of a sudden something switched, and now I'm really good on long and not super great on short, but I'm not bad. So my first time coming out here, I was confident that I would do decent, but I didn't know I would do as well as I did. On Sunday, I had Kyle Bigelow bowling next to me the whole time, so basically had somebody there to help talk me down. I think I shot like 160 one game and thought I was out of it. And he was like, "Oh, just go like 210 next 2 games and you'll be fine." And I went 220, 220, made the top 8 and bowled against Andrew Anderson and beat him the first game. And second game, he just ran me over. So.
Was it 2 game total pins at that?
I believe it was
the best of 3.
It was best of 3.
Gotcha. Jack Sullivan on 33 and 34. The 2 from the Chicagoland area. We're talking about Shota. Shota bowled single shootout. I don't think he bowled doubles.
No, he didn't. He wasn't here for the doubles. It's good seeing him out here.
I know he has bowled some PBA events, work his way through some PTQs. As Mr. Jean Perez said yesterday, he is the greatest bowler ever from Japan.
I met him at the last World Series of bowling I bowled.
And you don't get a chance to bowl that much on tour anymore,
No.
but you can still dibble and dabble.
Yeah, I go to the Masters still. It's my one trip that I get to go to unless something's super close and work will let me have it off. But right now I have a really good job. I have a boss that is very understanding with bowling. And right now we're working 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, but I'm lucky enough to be in a position to where if I don't want to work on Saturday, I don't have to.
You have a little seniority there?
Pretty much the agreement of me getting out of a department and going into another department. They were going to go to what they call a 3-2 schedule.
30 on, 2 off kind of thing?
Basically. So you're like, you'd work Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, and then work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the following week, you're off Monday, Tuesday, work Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So every other week, you get a 3-day weekend. And I told them I didn't want to work weekends because of bowling. And, you know, if I have a good weekend, I can make more money bowling than I do working. And when I got in this position in the warehouse, they pretty much said that it was my choice. They can't force overtime on me in my position because my position doesn't call for overtime. So it's kind of nice to have. I went from running a machine to driving a forklift. The company I work for, basically, we make all the Hershey packages, Hershey candy, Starbucks coffee bean bags. We just now started doing Haribo. So the gummy bears.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, we've got business. As long as people are eating candy and drinking coffee, we're good.
Well, that doesn't seem to be stopping
Yeah.
here in a minute. Jennifer, yes, be happy to do that for you here in a moment. Check out Nolan White. Whoa, is that a 5-pin? That's a 5-pin. Nolan won the Fairchild Singles, presented by H5G and Motiv. Also going to check in on 39 and 40 here in a bit too, because Red Shepherd's starting to make him look a little, I will not use the word easy, but he's starting to give the illusion that they are indeed playable. The legend Jerry Marsh is in the booth. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Welcome you to Boldstream TV this morning. A squad of the Bradley Open officially underway. Got 2 champs or past champions in this squad. Mentioned Tony Lambert earlier, and AJ Rice is bowling in this squad.
Tony actually the last game had 4 count.
Yeah, on 33 and 34.
Never thought I'd see that on this pattern.
Yeah, and then he left. And then he left the 2, 4, 7, 8 just on its own, like back to back. So it was like, oh, but yeah, he did go S4. He had a good look in game 1. AJ Rice, of course, if you missed that on social media last week, 2 weeks ago at this point.
2 weeks ago.
Shot a 900 series. Although from what I understood, it was the tournament itself was not certified, if I understood that correctly.
Yeah.
But either way,
still happened.
It may not count officially, but it's official.
Same
it's
thing
official
with,
in our minds.
Same thing with Glenn Allison.
Indeed. Yes, sir, Jason. If you're referring to Shota, he's made several shows on the PBA tour. I feel like he was out there on a regular basis. I feel like 2017, 18, 19-ish. I know he made a show in Jonesboro. I think EJ beat him in the Japan Cup. But plenty of Japanese professional titles to his credit.
Do they still do the Japan Cup?
That's a great question. I don't want to say no, but I feel that it's not it hasn't been on like the PBA schedule in a while. So I don't want to say no, it's not running, because it certainly well could be. I heard some cool stories about that event just from players who like made the trip. And
just watching it on TV, was seeing the 6 lanes that they bowl on. I remember watching it and watching Mike Wolf stone that 8-pin and getting it to wiggle, and I was just like, oh my God. That's my favorite thing to do. Is like my wife, she doesn't understand how I could sit there and be about bowling 24/7, and it's like we'll be on the couch watching TV, and if I'm not even interested in the show, I've got some old telecast from the PBA loaded up on my phone watching.
oh, Jack Sullivan with the slow wheel. All right, let's watch Chad's spare attempt, and let's check in on 35 through 38. Daniel and Brett, as Daniel mentioned, benefiting a little bit what from Brett is doing, trying to stay on top of him. Kimani Smith in the building, the best principal and rapper in the country. Appreciate you, K. Smith. Happy belated birthday. All right, if the standings aren't online, let's drop a few here in the chat. All right, after one game, Jeremy Thomas plus 46. Tyler Slawbaugh plus 32. Kyle Peterson plus 28. Matt Zweig plus 28. And then fifth, of course, there was a tie there. The third, Chris Hester was fifth and plus 24. The top five. Then I'm just going to go 10th was plus 9. That was Afton Lords. I like that name. And then 50th after one was minus 60, or I'm sorry, 41. 50th was minus 41 after one game.
And there's what, 62 people bowling this squad?
There are 61 on this sheet.
So you got to beat 11.
Re-entry still available. Jeremy, no, we just saw Steve, unfortunately, chop a spare in the 7th. So, speaking of the players on this pair, let's see. Steve Novak, 181 in game 1. A.J. Rice struggled out the gates. There were a few 130s out there.
He had last night, he was on the pair to the left of us when we started on 47, 48. They were on 45 and 46, and he had 290 going into the 10th. And he opened, I think, the 8th and 9th frame. And then the first ball in the 10th, he like smashed an 8-pin. He was not happy about that.
Needless to say.
And then I shot 351 and 52, and he looks at me and he goes, figures. And I'm like, whoa, all right. I don't do it as often as you.
Steve Novak. That shot. You see where he's playing him. That's just a classic Steve Novak line right there.
He's the man. Huh? He said it was a classic Steve Novak shot right there. I said, he's the man. Look decent.
The group on 33 and 34 with just 2. There's a mixture of pairs with 2 and 3. But I think the pace has been good overall.
I'd say the last couple of years, best squad to advance to Saturday night is off of A squad.
It's always interesting how that plays out in certain events. How often, well, we just talked about your work schedule, so I know you get a few days off every now and then. Do you have other, events like this from the, 5-figure payday, high-level amateur? You'll see some professionals go bowl. Any other events like that on your schedule or looking at potentially?
Potentially, yes. It's just a matter of driving time, whether I can, I don't want to say muster up the money. Money's not the issue. It's just more a fact of, do I want to go bowl on a house shot or do I want to go bowl on a sport shot somewhere? This event, and there's one other up by us. Oh, the Boot Hill.
Sure,
The 12-game Boot Hill, the Mega Boot Hill. Those two are the ones that I've been bowling with the 5 figures for first place. I'd like to get out more, but too busy either running my own events. Like in the summer, I got the King of the Hills on Friday night, which last year just blew me away.
I feel that those have grown exponentially.
So my first year that I ran at King of the Hills was back in 2011, and I averaged 41 bowlers a week. And I thought, that's not bad. That's pretty decent in the area. And I started running them because Sean, who used to run King of the Hill at
Valpo-ish?
No, it was in
Stardust.
Dyer.
Right.
He went to Valpo, and I had messaged him and asked him, I said, hey, you're going to Valpo, which is an hour and 40 minutes away, or hour and a half. I said, you all right if I run a King of the Hill on Friday nights for Chicagoland? And he said, no. He goes, that's fine. So I did. And last year, we had, on average, 111 bowlers per week.
Wow.
I had some weeks where I maxed out at 140. I had my first doubles event, my first doubles King of the Hill for the year. I had 140 bowlers, so I had 70 teams. And I had 18 teams on the waiting list. And there's a lot of people that have told me, well, why don't you move this to a bigger center? And I would, but the mechanic at Poplar Creek, Pete Albert, helped me get King of the Hill to where it was, or where it is, I should say. And I'm not going to do that to Pete. I'm not going to take business elsewhere. Poplar Creek takes really good care of me, and they take really good care of the bowlers. The nice thing I like that they do about the King of the Hills is once the tournament is done, if guys want to stay in practice, they don't make match play, they'll turn on 1 through 6.
Oh, that's what's up.
And they can go down there and bowl until they're ready to close. So they do a lot for the bowlers. And there's a lot of times where, Pete's the type of person where if you want to go and bowl on a sports shot or you want to prepare for a tournament, give him 24 hours notice and he'll put the shot out for you and you just paid your open bowl rates. And they'll do that for the bowlers. You got people like Abigail Starkey, who's out of Poplar Creek. She's doing wonderful out there.
Yep.
There's just so many bowlers that are coming out of Poplar Creek right now that are very talented. You got Brad Snell in the pro shop there. He helps out bowlers and does things for everybody.
Quick check-in here on Daniel Farish. I saw your question, Kimani. Just take a look at him. He's on the left of your screen. He's got 156 in the 7th, working on the strike. And he's in that pattern of spare, double, spare, double, spare, double. So if he can break that pattern in a great way, we could see another game in the 230s across the field, potentially. It's a nice finish. From Dalton Limke, 208. Novak, 199. All right, I do have scores now after 2. Scores after 2. Hello, Brandon. Appreciate you tuning in. Matt Ruskowski, he's on, finishing up on 42. Yeah, he was on, he started actually in our viewing area. See if we can get you his fill over there.
Maybe he throws a strike, he shoots 139.
David Nordhaus looks like he's got the high game of the day so far. 257 in game 2. A new leader at plus 58 here in A squad. For Brandon, who wants to see Matt, there he is, right of your screen. All right. Brett Shepard is a double, or 2 additional strikes away, I should say, from getting to 200 even. Jeremy Noe, spare in the 8th, the split, excuse me, 8 split.
Oh.
And so Brett's looking at
179. No, 189.
yeah, with count. Jack Sullivan had something brewing on 31 and 34. And a late open in the 9th, which is that's just so Bradley right there.
Yep.
laid open, all of a sudden you're in some trouble. And so real quick, full screen to Jack Sullivan, left of your screen.
I love his game. His releases. He shot 300 at Nationals a couple years ago. He was on my team. That was exciting. I think when we left, he said he's playing like Cheetah. When we left, I think at that time we were in like 11th overall for team. Exciting times.
Daniel had an opportunity there, but the pattern hopefully will continue now in this situation. Not the easiest of spares, too. 1, 2, 8.
McCune just missed the head pin.
Big spare. And no love on the 2 for Jack Sullivan down there, so he's going to be in the 190s.
I will say, in this event, one of the main reasons why I like bowling in Louisville is people out in this area, they come out here and show love to the bowlers. You know, if you make it to Saturday night, it's guaranteed to be laughs and fun.
Yeah.
Watching all the people around here and talking and
Yeah, because it
meet new people.
gets pretty hyped on Saturday night.
I know the Kentucky Open, the last time I bowled it was 2 years ago. And I finished third. Ogle won it that year. But man, this place was jam-packed with people, and it's awesome to see the support that this area gives for bowling.
From my vantage point, and I've known the Ferris family now for, wow, we're approaching 20 years. But Louisville's always been fantastic. And of course, there's been several PBA and or PWBA events, some in this very building, and other centers around the area. Dasha Kovalova shot 300 on TV in this building.
There's one thing that I did not know about this place until about 2 years ago. Is there's 10 more lanes in another room.
Yes.
I never knew that. I came in early one day and was like, oh, I'm going to walk around the building. I'm like, oh, what's through this door? And I walk out there and I was like, there's 10 more lanes out here. It's like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, there were people walking in from that area yesterday or like last night, but you knew, if you weren't paying attention, like they didn't bowl the doubles. So
Right.
they're like, what? They were bowling? Like where? Like,
Yeah. You're like, oh, geez, there's 10 lanes over there.
mentioned Nordhaus at plus 58, Slawbaugh now plus 51. Rick McCormick, oh, he can throw it too, man.
Oh, he's good.
Every time I see him bowl anything, he's in the upper echelon of the standings.
He was laughing at my jersey last night. He was telling me he wanted to get one like it. I told him, I said, just message Kulik. Tell him you want the Jerry Mars Mankini jersey.
That's when you know you've made it, when you got your own replica.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of nice. People laugh at it all the time. I said, just wait till the new one comes.
All right, so nothing happening on 35 through 38. Looks like bowling will begin momentarily on 31 through 34. So we'll start you here on 39 through 42. Wayne Jakes, who was lighting them up in singles yesterday, pair with A.J. Rice. And I got to figure out that. Seven, by the way, Jeremy Thomas. We finished the top 10.
My charger's still here from last night. Fuck you, win, baby. I was looking for that all day.
That's all right. I forgot mine at home.
Tell him, to him. He left. I didn't even know it was his.
Not safe.
All right, Anthony Nyer was 9th at plus 28, and then 10th, again after 2, was Shota at plus 13. Plus 13 was 10th after 2, 50th after 2 is minus 74. 50th is minus 74 after 2 games. This, we just bowled game 3, right?
Yep, game 3. Yes, game 3.
This is game 3?
This is game 4 now.
Okay, let's check. It's going by pretty quick.
Won't go by quick on the next squad. I'm guessing there's going to probably be about 100 of us.
Yeah. But it's okay. I'll take all of the additional time I can get. Colton Abbott, by the way, rounding out 39 and 40. And Mr. Gilbert down there on 41 and 42. Nolan White and Shota. Oh, we got some players. Looks like Chandler Smith just came out firing, I believe. Afton Lords, who was in the she was in the number down there bowling on 31 and 32.
What's up?
202-22-0 for Anthony Nyer.
3 200s in a row. Could have been 230, but I still said 9th and a 9 last week. Best shot of the game.
All right, let's see. Where do we want to? Let's watch Rick McCormick for a minute. We see Wayne Jakes here. We'll see this shot. Hello to Zach Wilkins, by the way. I saw you, Zach. Appreciate you tuning in.
Zach. Nice
There's
bowling
Rick.
out there, buddy.
Indeed.
Welcome to the Hammer staff.
AJ Rice to your right. Charlie Smith. That's a name to keep an eye on. Chad, I don't know that number at the moment, but I would agree with Jerry. It'll be higher probably than 64 or 61.
What's that?
The number of entries on B squad.
Well, I know they had 180 on the roster,
Oh, well, yeah.
but there's a lot of people that sign up for tournaments nowadays and then they don't show up. There are people
You
that
must be
that do-
speaking from experience.
Oh, I can name a couple, but I won't throw them under the bus. You know, it's the excitement of tournaments, you know, that the people get, and then they forget about them. So it's like you sign up for it, completely forget about it. Or sometimes there's family emergencies. I know my friend Mary,
Sure.
she was going to be here, and she was looking forward to coming bowling, and her boyfriend's grandfather took a turn. So told her, family's first.
Hate to hear that.
Go take care of the grandfather and hope everything, you know, is okay. But I know of a couple people that sign up for our events all the time and then they just don't show up. And with the events that we had, like the King of the Hills, once I get to near 140, I can't really do more than 140 because at Poplar Creek you can't use 1 and 2 and you can't use 31 and 32. Because there's a wall right there, so it's not fair to people to use the wall. So we have 28 lanes to work with, and 5 on a pair starting at 7 o'clock on a Friday night makes for a very long night.
Nice 5-10 conversion by Anthony Nyer.
He's lefty. That's considered a makeable spare to him.
Matt Zweig. He's on 33 and 34 right now. He's in your picture-in-picture.
See,
Check in on that group full screen.
Right where Rick was playing, that's where I planned on being.
Okay. Oh, just seen the right-handed bucket and the left-handed bucket. And both players are looking for the same thing, and I think just slightly missed in the same way. Again, this is game 4. We have scores through 2. Your leader is David Nordhaus at plus 58. Those numbers are in the chat. And it does not sound like the scores, at least at the moment, are being posted online. I did ask about that, so I'll let you know if that will change.
Put some fingers into the ball.
50th at the moment is minus 74. And then the top 50 will advance to the advancers round, which is tonight. We've got a long way to go before we get there.
That's just wild. You're seeing all these events out by us. The cuts are like 110 over just to make match play, and that's why I like events like this. That's why I like events like the Boot Hills, Woody's tournaments.
Still got that Mustang? You still got that Mustang? What do you got there? I've got a 78 12 cab dually truck with a 12 Nice.
I always get people telling me about how I'm all over the place bowling, and I'm going to be in Louisville this weekend and Waterloo, Iowa next weekend. And then Peoria, Illinois the weekend after that. I just love driving.
Apparently.
Figure here, yesterday we had to go through a snowstorm just to get here.
Yeah, so where were you during that process?
So yesterday, I left at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I stopped in Indianapolis to see what I call my brother, Joel Eisen. He runs the pro shop at Woodland for Tim Mack.
Okay.
And Joel is going through some things right now. He found out his mom got in a real bad car accident. And by the looks of the video, she's very lucky to still be here. And we're thankful that she is. She only has a broken ankle and wrist and a fractured vertebrae. But I stopped in Indy, and on my way to Indy, I hit a little bit of snow. Wasn't bad. And at about 2 o'clock, one of the guys came in the pro shop and said that they were shutting down roads in Illinois and Missouri because the snow was so bad and so heavy.
I did see a video specifically in Missouri that looked a little tough.
Well, I don't know if you know her, Carrie Ogle.
Yeah, that was her.
Okay.
It was her video.
Saw her video and her pictures and how she had hardly moved in 3 hours. And I was just like, man, I do not want to be stuck. So I got in the road, and I was about an hour outside Louisville, and the snow turned to rain, and I was like, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, that snow was no joke to drive in yesterday. Had one time where I literally had to slow down like 40 miles an hour because you could not see in front of you, I'd say more than 100 yards.
Yeah, that's wild. We only saw a little bit of it, thankfully.
Yeah.
Last night now, but when I left the building, you know, there was anywhere that had grass,
Yep.
had snow.
Yep.
Like a small little layer on it. So we must have brought that here.
Blame us Chicago people. Although I will say we've had a very, very mild winter up by us.
Yes.
We've only had one bad snowstorm.
Steel City, got your request too. Living in St. Louis. I give credit to all of the the Department of Transportation across their respective states.
Yep.
Especially those who deal with active snow, and even those that don't, because for those that don't, states that don't have a lot of snow typically, and they get bombarded, it can be very difficult to get that all together, cleaned out, roads cleared, etc.
It was nice being in Miami last week with 85-degree weather.
Miami,
That was,
in your cruise.
yep. We went out of Miami. We found a place. If anybody's ever in Miami, go to Bayside. And Bayside is basically like a pier, like Navy Pier,
Okay.
like they have in Chicago. But there's bars and there's restaurants all over the place in this. And there's stores and everything that you can go to. And the coolest thing about this place was we sat at a table, and the table had a QR code that you scanned. You scanned it. And all the restaurants that were in that area, their menus came up, and you just picked the menu, you ordered your food off of there, and that restaurant brought it to your table.
Wow.
So, like, I had pizza, another person in our group had tacos, another person in our group had a burger and a pork loin sandwich. I mean, we had a variety of food. You want to go out with a group of people, you go to Bayside out there, and it was just, we got to see Jimmy Butler's boat. I've actually got a picture of it. The thing was awesome.
That's
The one guy that was working there was telling us that whenever there's a home basketball game for the Miami Heat, some of the basketball players who have the boats, they'll take their boat to the stadium because it'll take them 10-15 minutes to get there, or if they drive on the roads, it'll take them an hour to 2 hours to get there because Miami traffic is horrible. So we saw this big boat pull up. It was black and red, and it said Jimmy Butler on the side of it, and it had his autograph. And it was the coolest thing ever.
That's things you don't think about when you like. That's very on brand for Jimmy, but it's also on brand for obviously Miami.
Right.
Like,
The boats that they had out there, oh, makes you just wish you had the money for it.
I need to take a cruise. Sounds like at least.
Anybody wants to go, I'm telling you right now, that trip last week was probably the most relaxing vacation, and it was what I needed. All the running around that I do and having to be here at this time, being there at this time, and working so much lately, I went and just relaxed. Sat by the pool on the boat while we were at sea and just enjoyed the trip. It was me, my mom, my dad, my wife, my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, Eric Pollock and his wife, and Becky and Craig Gresco from our area. We all went out. We all went out and just had such a great time. And best part about the cruise is waking up and you can have the sliding glass door open all night, so all you hear is the waves.
Who do you think on tour, PBA tour, if they could have a boat, like a Jimmy Butler boat? Who on tour you think would get a boat?
Rash.
He wouldn't be the first person I would think of. But I know you know him better than me.
I could see Rash doing it. I could see Rash doing it. I could see Kyle doing it.
I could see Kyle Troop doing it, yes.
Well, let me rephrase that. I could see Kyle Troop and Jesper doing it together. Both of them
That's
getting a boat. And, I don't know. I couldn't see Belmo doing it.
No, but it would be perfect branding.
True.
Just with the Belmo boat. I mean, there's so many ways you could do it.
Yep. Ogle would be another one. I mean, he's always posting pictures and videos of him being out on his boat fishing. And I'm sure if he lived in Miami and had the money, he'd be doing the deep sea fishing.
All right, if you're just joining us, folks, this is Game 4. We're watching a little bit of A.J. Rice per request. We'll take a look back at 35 through 38 in a minute. Jeremy Thomas with a strike. In fact, 35 and 36 starting to put a few strikes together. Let's take a look at this group here. We'll have a little picture-in-picture. Tyler Slawbaugh did start well, a couple of opens. We'll take a look at some finals here. Although Shota looks like he can get to 198. And he will do just that.
I'm sitting here looking at the comments in here, and I see John McCarthy's, saying thanks for shouting out the Kentucky Open. If you guys don't want to bowl on an event as grueling as this, a little bit easier than this, bowl the Kentucky Open. That I was coming out here for years on end for that, and John puts on one hell of a tournament.
And this is an event too. Which event is it? Tim Foy with jokes.
Tim Foy's always got jokes.
Talking about the size of Jerry Marr's head and headsets fitting. But John, if you're still listening to, which event is it that goes center to center?
That's the Kentucky Open.
Okay.
Yeah. Your first night is here at Executive because they have the Derby tournament going on Saturday and Sunday. So they do first round at Executive. And then when I've bowled it, it's always been Executive, Kingpin, and the third center is always varied depending on the year or whatnot. But you bowl on a long pattern, you bowl on a short pattern, and a medium pattern. They don't announce the pattern until right before practice. And just the transition from center to center, it's smooth. He's got a great staff that helps him. They're there way before we get there and ready to go. It's just probably one of the better tournaments. It's probably one of the best tournaments to bowl. The only reason why I stopped bowling is because I got the chance to bowl the Lucy. And the last 2 years I've been going to Houston. This year I won't be going. My doubles partner is having a baby, and she's due at the end of June. So we got invited to a wedding, and my wife said she'd really like to go to the wedding. So kind of worked out a little bit.
Who did you bowl with?
Sam Kelly.
How about that?
First year I bowled with Melanie McDaniel. And then last year we bowled with Sam. We ended up missing the cut by like 20 pins.
Oh, I recall this.
So.
All right, folks, so just an FYI, I do have scores after game 3. And what I'm going to then do is try to post those to the Bowlstream TV Facebook page. Let me just double check the Bradley Open. It's not there right now before I do it. Still an opportunity at plus scores here. 230 out there. Anthony Nyer still getting the 240s. It's a quality break.
I had a buddy one time tell me, we were talking at an event, and he was like, if you were to get into a bar fight, who would you want to be in your corner? I said Anthony Nyer for sure. I didn't strike much at the RPI.
And AJ Rice, as we see Tyler, excuse me, Tyler Slawbaugh strike. AJ can get to 245, so we'll take a quick jump back over there. But solid bowling over here on 35 and 36 throughout. All right, quick look as Rick McCormick does handle the spare, so Rick can get to 211. There's AJ Rice. Someone referred to him yesterday as Mr. 900. And still striking. He goes split, split. Not sure what those splits were. double, 9 spare, 8 spare, and possible sheet here. But this one will put him in the 240s if he can connect.
I know the one in the second frame, I believe, was the 2.7.
Jerry Mars has been kind enough to hang out for a little bit with me. He was in the building early. Said he couldn't sleep.
Nope.
Too anxious to bowl.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I miss those days, actually. Used to get anxious when you go ready to bowl the tournament.
It was funny a couple years ago when Rich Weber retired from the Midwest region, and they were looking for somebody to run it. There was quite a few people messaged me, and they're like, oh, you should run the Midwest region. And I'm like, yeah, no. I run that, I have to give up bowling, and I'm not ready to give that up yet. In time, yes, but I did inquire to run the Midwest Facebook page just so I could promote the events for it.
Sure.
Get it out there, because I remember when I first started bowling regionals, when I was like 20, 21 years old, I used to get like 120, 130 entries. You have to have 2 squads, and now we'll be lucky if we get 60. There's a lot of people that don't think it's worth it, but now that they got the RPI back, at least gives us something to bowl.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, yeah, that young man, something to bowl right there. Anthony Nyer.
The kid's got so much talent, it's not even funny. I think it was like it was always at the RPI that we were at. He shot like 160 one game. Punched his hand. Just throw it better, and then he shot like 250 the next game. Almost got himself back into it. I even bowled with him in his Masters in Detroit, and he did the same thing. Struggled the first 2 days, and basically where he's throwing the ball now is where he was throwing it at the Masters, and ended up running everybody over and made the cut.
Yeah, you can't give him, I mean, you know, certainly not, we're not talking about the Bradley, but in general, give him the gutter. Give him the half. He's going to strike a ton.
Yes, he is.
And he's been doing that here, too, with minor angle changes. He left a bucket way back in frame 2 of this game, made the adjustment, and proceeds to shoot 244. A.J. Rice did shoot 234. And Slawball's going to finish at 185. Uh-oh, TP's going to close us out.
Uh-oh. How you holding up?
Hug me.
What's going on, brother?
Hug. Come on, you need one? I do need one.
Ryan Sidney in the house.
It's been a while since I've seen Ryan. Yeah, looking forward to seeing him. All right, so we're moving to game 5. This is a perfect opportunity for us now to go over the current standings as they were just placed into my hand. All right, as of right now, after 3 games, David Nordhaus back in the lead at plus 54. Rick McCormick, forgot what Rick finished with, but Rick's at plus 43. Tyler Slawball, who just shot 185. He is at plus 39. Steve Novak is 4th, or was 4th, at plus 31. Again, this is after 3. And Anthony Nyer was 5th at plus 29, but he just shot 244 as you saw. 10th is T.P. Peterson, who is either going to be on 37 and 38, perhaps. He brought his stuff down this way. 10th was plus 2. Now, he just said he needed a hug, so game 4 may not have been too pleasant. Hopefully, it wasn't too detrimental.
Thought he said he was at like minus 40 now.
Okay. Well, still in good shape. But still work to do when you think about the grand scheme of it.
Yeah.
And then a third, I'm sorry, 50th, by the way. 50th is minus 114.
I'd say 50th is probably going to be like 160 under.
The crazy thing about all of this to this point is that we just watched A.J. Rice shoot 234.
Yep.
A.J. Rice was not in the top 50.
Oh, Jesus.
Through 3 games.
See, and that's
if you can believe that.
That's the talent that you have with guys like AJ and a lot of these guys out here. Is they could be out of it, and then all of a sudden it's like they find something and they run with it, and they could be unstoppable.
Well, that's maybe what's about to take place right now, but another game like that, and he'll be fine to creep into the top 50. Jonathan Gilbert, you're on 35 and 36. We'll check in on the leader, too. David Nordhaus is now on 31 and 32. We watched T.P. Peterson in the old bucket with a biscuit, as Aaron Smith would say. He's bowling with, let's see if I get some more score sheets. I believe that's Tyler Widmeyer. And I need one more name. All right, I got a pop quiz for you here, Jerry Barnes.
What's that?
If I told you that today is the birthday of the greatest of all time, what would be your first guess?
Are they alive or deceased?
They are alive.
Belmo.
Nope. I'm intentionally not saying what sport.
Oh. I thought you were talking about bowling.
Not bowling. Okay, I'll just say it's not bowling. But it could be. Greatest of all time.
Jordan?
Yes.
And yes, Jordan is the greatest of all time. So ain't nobody gonna tell me this Kobe stuff.
Well, yeah.
Kobe, or not Kobe, LeBron. Kobe and Jordan. I'm not a basketball fan. Or I shouldn't say basketball fan. I'll watch basketball. I watch majority of sports, but
Sure.
I don't sit there and stop my life and go, oh my God, I gotta go watch basketball. I gotta go watch football. Bowling, on the other hand,
You are stopping.
I will have my phone in my hand like I was on the cruise ship. But I will tell you, on that cruise ship, we met bowlers from Canada. We met bowlers from Ohio, Minnesota. There's probably, I'd say, about 15 people that were bowlers on there. And the only reason why we knew they were is because I was wearing my Deviate shirt. Pollock was wearing his Vice shirt. And people came up to us and they're like, are you bowlers? Like, nope. We just like wearing the apparel.
We just don't. We never leave our bowling gear at home.
We don't.
Like, you're on vacation.
I will
leave the shirts at home.
No, I wore my hoodie. I had my shirt.
The staffs will not be upset that you did not represent while you're on the cruise.
True,
but you might have influenced a bowler or a potential bowler. That is funny though. That's how it connects.
We were in the ice cream parlor on the ship watching the telecast, and we had a good 4 or 5 people around us watching it.
Were they? Which telecast was it?
The Mount Prospect one.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was one that would keep your eyes front and center, certainly.
Yeah, I as much as I gotta support my brands, you know, I want to see Bill win again. and I want to see Russo win. But AJ Johnson, man, I bowl league with him on Monday nights when he's around and he's there, and he's just seeing him win in Sweden. I couldn't have been happier for him. And then now just for him to win out here, I was hoping he would have won Mount Prospect because he would have done it in front of his family and friends. Because I'm not even kidding. When you watch the telecast, I'd say majority of the people in those stands were people that I either bowl with on Monday night or we see him in the tournaments in the area. That's just the support he has, and it's awesome to see. I know if by chance, if I ever had a miracle and made telecast for something, I know there's plenty of friends that would fly out, drive out, whatever, to come watch, but to do it at your backyard would have been something for him.
Yeah, that was the talk, certainly. And he put himself in great position to do that. It was a great tournament. I got a chance to call that one for Bowl TV with Mike and BK and the crew.
Just need to listen. See?
And if Leia's still watching, she was watching her brother Matt bowl earlier today. That's great, William. It is, yeah. Like seeing someone who is wearing a Titleist gear and claiming they don't golf, yeah. All right, so in about let's say 30 seconds, I have some scores for you online. So just posted the scores after 3 games. If you have Facebook, you can hop over to the Boldstream TV Facebook page. I did just post a photo of the standings if you would like to view them yourself. And if they don't end up on the, which they will end up on the Bradley Open tournament page, I'm sure at the end of each round for sure.
I think they post it after everything's done.
They definitely will do that, but
tonight I think they do the game by game. It's just the squads.
I think you're right. Yeah.
The squads they do at the end, and then at night they'll do the game by game. Same thing with Sunday. So the guy bowling on 36, I want to say that's the guy that's on TikTok that bowls with the one lane, and
Oh, I think you're right.
he does those funny ones where he's like trying to teach the freshmen how to open up the lane, and then they don't do it, and he's standing at the foul line going, "What are you doing?"
I haven't seen a lot, but my IG presence has been lacking. But when I hop on, he's some of the first content that I do see.
Yeah.
That pops up. Yeah, you're completely right. Now I'm seeing the approach.
I literally watched this swing and was like, I've seen that somewhere.
I
Where have
don't know
seen
what
that?
school he.
I don't know, but to have one lane at your discretion just to bowl on.
Pretty dope.
Anybody who has a bowling lane in their house, I envy you.
Yeah, shout out to Charles Wilkin.
Yeah, retake that. We're blurry.
And Jonathan Gilbert bowling together here. All right, let's go down to real quick. Where are we at? Let's go down there. Let's flip real quick.
No, he does that time. He's still trying to make himself unacceptable.
finish out with David Nordhaus and Brandon Coombs, just to see where Nordhaus will finish up.
Gene's struggling this game. Where's he sitting at?
Who?
Gene Perez.
Gene. Gene is. Well, he is in 18th. He's at minus 24.
He'll be fine.
He's in good shape. That was after 3. Thank you, Kingpin and Wendy, for that info. Charles goes to the University of the Cumberlands. Sounds like that lane is on campus, according to what we're reading or what I'm reading in the chat. Nordhaus is going to be 160 with a strike.
So when you were bowling, what was your favorite center to bowl at? Like overall, anywhere you've bowled?
Anywhere?
Anywhere.
That's a great question.
I've got 2.
Man, it's a really good question. Because I got to go all the way back to college. That's the last time I bowled on a regular basis.
My 2 favorite centers. It's the National Bowling Stadium.
Yeah, I put that there.
I don't know what it is about that place, but I've always bowled pretty well there. And Boulevard in Madison. That's where I won my first PBA regional, and I've always loved going there. Still do to this day.
You said the Boulevard?
Boulevard.
Boulevard and Madison.
Yep, it's right by the University of Wisconsin campus. They just renovated that whole place. They put in new lanes, and they put in new pin setters. They used to have the original GS pin setters, and within the last couple of years, they put in the new AMF free fall ones.
Okay.
And they've always done good jobs there.
Yeah, the stadium is. I don't think I go with strike and strike, Bo, for me. Because I didn't strike as much as everyone else did, so I can't put it in there. Mr. Perez can only get to 159, and he does not make that split. Wow. Maybe missed right there, the Charles, but there was, the right lane, last shot on the right lane, you saw the ball hook twice, and that's because there's obviously so much chalk to start. You started to see folks, equipment hook and hook again. I'm still trying to figure out this question though, Jerry.
I had somebody ask me that, and those are the 2 centers that I will always love bowling in.
I think I've had more favorite centers not bowling, if that makes sense. Because this is what I've done for the last, decade or so.
I've got one center that I don't care to bowl in, but I'll bowl there. Just
and I mean, like, not bowling, like, because I had bad success. Meaning, like, in this role, I enjoy going to this center because they're just great.
Yeah.
Like Sun Valley Lanes would be one of those.
Bowled there once. U.S. Open qualifier.
Today's squad bowlers, as you guys finish up, please bring your score sheets to the front desk.
You're aiming there. It's back
Got to bowl with Tyler Tornow and Nate Garcia.
Smart move. I know, but no one else is going to know.
I'm going to say just St. Charles Lanes.
Can we replay that shot?
Because every time I walk in there, it just feels like home. I spent a gazillion hours there as the home of Lindenwood University, so that would be on my list.
I, for some reason, have not had good luck in that center.
That's not good. We got to change that.
I
At least
don't
they
know.
hold the non-champs there a lot.
I don't know if they'll want me back.
Fair enough.
Not after last May.
Wow. He's close. It's cool that we are now in the stage of, especially in bowling, where you recognize Mr. Wilkin from his work on social media.
Yep.
Which is great. And the bowling content and the content creators behind this content, you know, is what people are identifying with those players.
Yep. Oh, that's how I met Ryan Sidney. Actually, was it off?
Is it a true story?
Yeah, I saw a video on TikTok. And he was talking about Motiv Matt and all the stuff that they did, and it just, to me, it was great. You know, it was great to watch, you know, two guys mess around and joke around with each other, and then all of a sudden it was like 2 months later, I'm bowling holiday doubles next to them, and I got to know Ryan, and you know, we've chatted online here and there, and I'll post stuff. He'll like it, comment on it, and it just, you know, I've gotten some friends off of social media. To me, I think it's great. Just seeing everybody post their content. I don't care what average bowler you are, you know. Go out there, do your best. You know, you shoot 6-0 and you're happy about it. I'm going to be happy for you, because not everybody can go out and shoot 800s, and you know, somebody 600 might be their 800.
So there's a place for that.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. You know, I love seeing all the content. I love, you know, I like watching people bowl at centers and see the centers that I've bowled in. Like there's one in Michigan. We bowled a regional. I came in third to Rash and Dombrowski. And I posted my videos on there, and I had so many people comment on them. They're like, "Oh my God, that's my center. When were you there?" You know, it's like stuff like that is cool to see. I think that's TP's way of running it out. That was his way of running it out. That was his way of running it out. Some of the bowling centers, though, that they put out there. I don't know if you've seen the one in Atlanta, the bowling factory.
No.
I want to bowl there.
No, I have not seen it.
That looks like it was just a bowling center thrown in a warehouse, and it's some of the bowling centers you see. I love seeing the unique masking units, and you know, my joy for the game literally comes from I can sit on a pin setter in the back and watch that thing work for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. I used to work on them. I used to work on A2s, and everything about this sport just fascinates me.
Chad, I got Chad Bischoff here, as was flirting around the top 50 after 3 games, and trying to make his way in and firmly supplant himself inside the top 50. And Gabe Alvarado checking in. Hard way. Good frame here for TP. Coming off a 155 game. He was +2 prior to that. But he should be in good shape.
Yeah, he should be good too.
As game 5 ends, don't forget B Squad will begin at 12:30 p.m. or at least approximately 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So at this point, 90 minutes from now, Could it change? It might, depending on the traffic situation outside with the farm machinery show next door. If that does happen, we will, or I'll drop a note in the chat for you and make the adjustments as necessary on the time. TP makes the bucket. That's a big bucket there too. He went 5 spare, 6 spare, and frames 1 and 6 respectively. Tries the shot in. Chicago's finest, TP Peterson. I gotta say, when I get a chance to, which not that rare, thank you, doesn't happen very often. See a lot of folks that I know specifically from my area, and saying their names on the air is a pretty cool feat for me.
Yeah. Bo commented on here, Middleton Sport Bowl, which is just outside of Madison, is one of his favorites. That's probably one of my favorites too, because I've bowled a total of probably 15 games in that center.
And you won the term.
And I've got 4 300s. It's a little 10 lane place. Madison Area Scratch Tour puts on a doubles tournament. It's a split doubles. So you bowl one squad, your partner bowls another squad. And then if you make the cut, you bowl match play together. And the first year I bowled, I went 279, 300. And then I got over to 1 and 2. And 1 and 2 is right up on a wall, but there's a hole cut out of the wall for like a walkway to walk back. So you can kick your foot and you can get left, but it gets intimidating. And then the next year I shot 300, 180. But yeah, that's probably one of the centers that's just it's a nice little home bar, bowling center, great food.
Final pair is finishing up. Looks like we've got a situation brewing on 33 and 34. We just need a couple of additional pins, so let's move it over to 39 and 40 as they finish up. Wow, Chris Pickett, my guy. How you doing, man? Send me a message. Let me know how you're doing, because it sounds like you're in Thailand, which is pretty solid. Jennifer, yes, we do. Just was handed those scores. Gregory Jackson, by the way, if that's the Gregory Jackson. Farilla. Appreciate you tuning in, my guy. Happy birthday to your wonderful little one as well. So Nair is at plus 73. Rick McCormick is at plus 51. Steve Novak was at plus 39. There was a tie for 4th. Tyler Slawa at plus 24, and David Nordhaus at plus 24. Let's just skip all the way down to 50th. And that number was minus 155.
It's going to be more than 160 then.
Yeah, I think so at this point now, for sure. Yeah. So top 50 advance from A squad. And top 50 will advance from B squad. There's also a 2-game Desperado squad, which will follow B squad here this afternoon. This is the one tournament where the Desperado squad is not the last thing in the night. Or in some other events, if there's a Desperado, it's the very last thing to figure out, you know, who else is going to go to or be advancing and then move into the next morning. We got the Desperado and then the first advancers round tonight. Those 6 games will then determine the 40 players who advance to the cashers round on Sunday morning. And those 40 players, of course, it says cashers round, and those 40 will make money. Load of cash is $600. Guaranteed. And of course, $12,500 to the eventual champion, which could be Jerry Mars.
God, that would be nice.
Then he could go on another cruise.
No, I could pay off the student loan for my daughter.
Well, there you go.
Or put a big chunk into it.
That is, that's the most dadliest thing I've ever heard right there. Because I feel you. Hello, Ramon. and David as we close it out here on 33 and 34. Everything else on the high end here, players are done. There's a few bowlers left in the middle of the house and some on the low end. But this will complete this morning's round in the coverage. So I'm going to guess this round officially will end at about 11:20 or so Eastern time.
Yeah.
Standings would be finalized and official and probably posted somewhere after 11:30. And then I'll be back and ready about 12:15 or so. And I'll let you know what time we will begin B Squad. Again, it is originally scheduled for 12:30 p.m. But as long as traffic isn't, I think, too horrific, we should start on time. If it is, they might give another 10 to 15-minute grace period. Mr. Mars, as we close it out here, did you see anything that surprised you as you get ready to bowl your 5-game block?
Everything that I've pretty much seen is basically what I've seen the last 2 years. Either somebody's trying to bump it off the gutter out the outside, or you got people in the middle. And middle didn't look too promising, but my favorite shot is a fallback. So I'm hoping I'll be okay. I should be okay. Spare game's pretty good right now.
The fallback. Why do we call it the fallback?
Because it was the last resort shot, man, that you wanted to throw.
And with that said, folks, I want to thank my guy, Jerry Mars.
No problem.
Appreciate you for hanging out.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
If I don't make it to Saturday night, I'll sit in here tonight with you if you want.
Yes, I would thoroughly enjoy that. But I know that's not going to happen because you're going to be bowling this evening. Because you belong. You know you're going to be bowling. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go there, but are you a desperado kind of bowler?
No.
Okay.
Because if I can't find it
in 5 games?
in 5 games, I'm not going to find it in 2. Now, if I was able to re-enter, if I bowl this squad and then you could re-enter B squad, I'd probably do something like that, but not for 2 games. I'm not going to be able to put it together for 2 games if I can't find it for 5.
Gotcha.
It's one thing that I like. It's one thing I liked about Greater Iowa tournaments is you can re-enter for the full price again, but he takes first-time bowlers as a priority. So if C squad's got like 10 spots open, and 5 people want to bowl again, and there's 5 people that haven't bowled yet, he'll take the 5 people first, and then he'll start a waiting list for everybody else.
Is that Joe?
Yep. Joe Engelkiss.
Yeah, Joe Engelkiss. Yeah, the winter. Is it the winter?
Winter Classics next week.
And that should be on IB.
Yep.
Inside Bowling. Shout out to my man Mike. Chris, as we head off the air, don't forget to join me back again. Appreciate it. Let me know what time it is
Thank
where
you,
you
Michael.
are too. That's for Rilla, by the way, who's saying hello to you.
How's it going, Greg?
And then Chris, the Bradley is simply high volume, plays long, slick.
I think last year's pattern was like 54 feet and 49 mils.
Yeah, I mean, it's always something in that zone. There's never an official well, there is one that exists, but no one knows it. It doesn't get thrown out there.
Doesn't get thrown out. Doesn't get thrown out from what I was told until match play starts. Top 8.
Oh, okay.
So and it's usually very flat, lots of oil, and
so there it is. That's the Bradley in a nutshell. How much more surface will we see here this afternoon? We will find out. Should be a few more players on the lanes as well. We'll see if we got any surprise entrants to the B squad also. So I'd like to thank all of you. I'm going to go ahead and post the Game 4 update on Bowlstream TV's Facebook page, and then be on the lookout for the Bradley Open official update after all 5 games on the Bradley Open Bowling Tournament Facebook page. Big thanks to Jerry Mars and all of you wonderful people for watching this morning.
appreciate it.
For Jerry, Jason Utchwald, big thanks to all the sponsors of this wonderful tournament, creating the difference, H5G, Maeser Plumbing, Motiv, and the QubicaAMF. My name is Emil Williams Jr. I will see you in about a little over 90 minutes. This has been a presentation of A Squad Bowling, A Squad of the Bradley Open from Executive Bowl, Executive Strike and Spare here in Louisville, Kentucky. You watched it live and only on Bowl Stream TV. We will see you at 12:30 p.m. Eastern.